Okay, so Jason is pretty much caught up on everything that happened, but the current setting and where we're at this point, the goal has been to reach this new chainless base, traveling through the jungle, dealing with various things. We don't want to forget about the fact that there was a brief moment where there were drones, these weird spherical metal and crystal objects that were flying through the forest and scanning, and then some kind of big thing that flew overhead, and then some kind of beam of light, and everybody is, or I should say Razier said he thought that the old campsite was being nuked. We also don't want to forget about the well with the canister, the solium, how Blackstar killed a rat, and Chris said now we have a rat launcher. That whole thing, that was pretty funny. Moving on from there was the Blooming Grove. There was, with all its craziness, and then the interaction with Gelleron. And really, all of these are just kind of stepping stones. But to kind of tie everything together a little bit, there were landmarks that you were looking for. The first of which was the Blooming Grove, and then the next, because this is what Razier probably would bring up, because he actually had the notes about what to expect going forward. And then the next one was the Felix. I don't know if you remember the exact wording on it, but it was the following the lines the dead leave in the swamp to reach the tower. And then once you reach the tower, it was due south to reach the chainless base, essentially. So you found the Blooming Grove, and you had stepped on some leaves with a crunching sound underneath, and discovered that there were just like hundreds, if not thousands, of skeletons that were underneath this kind of low groove in the ground that had all these skeletons inside of it. You decided to back off from there and go make camp a little ways away. For that evening. There is only technically one... Oh, the new map is up. You probably noticed that. And things are definitely a little bit wonky in terms of spatial miles and whatnot. So we'll have to just kind of play with that as we go through. You probably also noticed, based on the picture that I sent you, that Salagastres and the ruins where you encountered B2 and Garen are on their own islands. So... Yeah, just kind of adjusted those, and it's kind of whatever. There probably would have been, more how did we get here, how did we get back kind of thing. We'll tackle that once you're headed back to Sayor, if you indeed do go back to Sayor after this. But where we pick back up is around your campfire, if you're having a campfire. If you are not, it is the sun has gone down at this point. It's probably around 5:30, 6 o'clock in the evening, and a couple hours before actually settling down to take your long rest. And there was theoretically going to be some conversation. Yeah.
What was the last thing we talked about? I know Garen was talking a lot.
I think we were talking about the dreams you had at Salagastro's place, and the Black Star's Arcane Battery, and the your backstory with the people you were adventuring with before that you met us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I remember a little bit of the internal looking of B2
Yeah,
as well.
right, yeah.
Yeah, because the arcane battery is, I have something similar inside of me, like the battery that Blackstar has.
And don't you have a bunch of off-brand stuff inside of you as well?
Yeah, that kind of
Yeah.
resembles
Yeah.
the Shadow Realm kind of technology, and then the technology that looked familiar, or at least looked part of me naturally, was from the same era of technology as the ship that was taking off in the museum that you guys,
Yeah.
you all saw.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah, so it's like the majority of the construction of B2 resembles that era, but there's bits and pieces of, we'll just call it Shadowfell technology, right?
Yeah,
Shadowfell,
not Shadow Realm.
That's okay. We all knew what you meant.
Good.
Yeah. So you're all sitting around your camp and having Garen talking about who he had worked with or been traveling with, and then the inspection of B2,
Mhm.
and just hanging out.
Yeah, I remember the last
Talk
thing
about things.
mostly being, at least for Garen, was the memory. Like he got like a flash of memory about the uh thing he fought, uh, which confirmed that the Cauldron was actually more accurate than he thought.
Oh yeah, and Jason, you can't do anything because we said Xander's asleep
Yeah,
during all
he's
this.
asleep.
But he can wake back up and have conversation if he
Yeah,
wants to.
just basically. I'm just giving him more reasons to hate the French.
He's not waking up. In fact, he's gonna go get more pasta.
He doesn't need to be awake to get pasta.
No, in his dream.
Yeah.
Oh wait, he's having a vision about fast.
Yeah, I think Garrett has spoken a lot, so he's gonna like recognizing that he was dialoguing so much. He's gonna probably try to work off some steam because that's not normally something he's comfortable doing. So he's just gonna do some push-ups, probably bother Louise for food since he doesn't want berries.
Yeah, I'm just go get some in the abracadabras.
Yeah, it's a whole dinner
So,
set up for him.
Are you doing push-ups to deflect the fact that you opened up?
I don't know what you're talking about. I'm just these don't happen without work. So I just every morning, every night, I'm making sure to get some reps in. That's it. In no way is this me running away from socializing or opening up.
Walls up, walls up. Um, very well. And B2 is gonna join, but because he's just a robot, it's just very like
Robotic.
yeah.
Yeah, Gary's gonna get competitive if he sees you keeping up with him.
B2's just thinking that it's a fun game, just like this is B2 internally is thinking maybe he'll be more comfortable if we join him in an exercise.
But instead, Garen's looking over like, is he going faster than me?
No!
B2's form is just slightly better, being that he can get so low.
Yeah. Yeah, my muscles are probably getting in the way. Though I can't go all the way
Yeah.
to perfect.
That's great.
Dude, I wish Blackstar were here. He'd be like, "Are you just gonna take that? You're just gonna let him be better than you, Garen?"
No, it's true. So as Blackstar, I'll give Garen a point of inspiration. He's gonna play. It's the Eye of the Tiger. This is where it would be a good time. Or no, better yet, we are the champions. We'll do my type of music. We are the champions.
There you go.
Yeah,
Nice.
Garen's going in. He doesn't see this as a game. This is a
Alright. Well,
This is
it's
not a
it's a
game.
point of pride for him.
to even the playing field, I'll guidance beat you.
All right. Both of you make athletics checks.
Okay.
I just gotta roll the same thing I rolled last time when I was practicing.
Yeah. And you get
Oh,
a
no.
6, I believe.
Yeah, it is the same exact thing. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
I start using one hand. At this point, I'm feeling cocky.
B2 failed on purpose to make him feel better.
Okay.
Just like, wow, you are stronger.
Says it just like that too.
Yeah.
That's great.
Do you need some oil? Some oil, B2?
No, I will be okay. I am
All
not
right.
exhausted.
I'm gonna go to.
Yeah, here's
Is
your
it-
food, Garen.
Yeah. I'm just gonna sit down. I'm gonna look around for water as well as I'm just scarfing it down. I don't think there's any water around, but he's gonna look around for water.
I mean, there are some puddles of water here, and you don't have to go too far from your camp to find them. However, this is a swamp. It's probably not water that you want to just drink from where it lays.
Yeah.
Dark and murky, and there's dead people around. You know.
I'll just be dehydrated. It's fine. It's okay.
I mean, if you want water, I can get some from the abracadabras.
That's something it can make water too.
Yeah.
This thing is amazing.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
As
Like-
Black Star, I'm gonna do a minor illusion of a cup of water next to his food. I think that's
Thank
something
you.
Black Star would do.
Totally would do that.
Thank you, Louise. Am I doing this wrong?
This entire time, Garen's never known how to hold a cup.
Get in
Yeah.
my
But Black Star would just be like, "What's wrong with you? Can't you just pick it up off the rock? I don't understand. Like, do you not know how to use your fingers?"
I
Bing.
know it's I know the trick. I know the trick. Get in my I'm getting angrier and angrier. I'm starting to turn into stone because I'm getting angry.
Yeah.
I think Black Star will pick it up because since he can shape it, just like, oh.
I'm gonna grab you or grab Black Star. Like, how do you do this? I'm so
Garen,
thirsty.
coming out of the middle. I've got your water. Wait, what's happening?
Garen's got Black Star like pushed up against a tree.
I was just lifting up. Yeah, other than that.
Okay.
All right, here you go.
But you came up to me with water.
Yeah, 'cause
Okay.
I need to go in the hole to get to the chest.
All right, you can keep that water. I'll put Black Star down and actually drink something.
Mhm.
Can you hear that with my gulping?
Yeah, we can.
Yes. I didn't want to get too far into RPing Black Star because I don't want to take away his ability his agency. Although this is not important stuff really, but
What are you saying? Our RP isn't important, Tim?
I thought I was doing a good job.
yeah, it was all very very good RP. It's just me RPing as Black Star in that moment wouldn't really have an impact on the story unless I said Black Star punches Garen or something because he wouldn't do that. But
No, you set him on fire.
I'm pretty sure he'd just play it up more.
Yeah, he would.
It's like what? I don't. There's no trick, man. You just you just drink.
mhm. Okay.
Wait,
Is-
Garen's scarfing his face now.
Is there any other conversation that we want to have during this evening? Because last session it was made to be to sound like the first half of the session was going to be RP with Xander, but the two people who were probably going to converse with him are not here.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I guess if anything, B2 would Xander, now that we have a better understanding of my internal workings, what do you think?
You woke him up?
Really quick, Tim. What if there's anything that I would have read? Would any of it have would Solium have been involved in any of it?
Oh
Um,
yes.
So you don't need to roll for that at all, and the answer is a very definitive no.
No. Okay. I mean, what do I think? I don't really know. I mean, it's a material that I've never heard of before on the inside of you that somehow keeps you working and keeps you moving. And I mean, I don't really know if the arcane batteries also are made of a similar compound. So, I mean, we're just kind of working off of assumptions and theories at this point. There's hypotheses that we can make based off of, our findings, but I mean, as of right now, none of it really matters because, you're here and you're working and you're you, and that's the most important thing.
I suppose. But learning this information brings a bit of concern. If you have an empty power source or empty battery, how much juice or energy is left in my battery?
Hmm. Now, from what we understand about arcane batteries, they're used to power some very powerful things, machinery that we're not entirely quite familiar with, which is probably what makes it possible for you to be alive. But if there's one thing that I do know, it's that the Chainless have gotten their hands on at least one arcane battery in the past. And it has been used in, I guess, a mechanism against a friend of ours. It was only used to, we only were his friend for one day. But I believe that it was used in something that was meant to try and probe his mind or something of that sort. That's just my theory anyway.
What are you referring to?
I'm referring to oh my god. What's his name? Tormund, yeah. And when I had the vision as Tormund.
Oh. Right. Yep. So there, I described there being an arcane battery inside of the torture device.
You didn't. That's my theory.
Okay.
That's because these things don't just get powered, and I don't remember there being a lot of like arcane wizards in the area. So like, that's my theory. And this machine was able to, apparently, I don't know all of the details, and I've heard some conflicting stories, but apparently was able to wrench important information out of his brain. And if that's the case, that's a much more, at least I think, high power operation than what you're running. And if they can do that once, more than once, then I think you're going to be fine for at least a while. I mean, when did you come online?
Online.
I made that word up. I thought it sounded cool.
I guess it would have been not much longer than when I met Garen, probably what you would refer to as a month before I met Garen, if that. Time is still a little bit tricky for me to be perceived.
Right. And
but
especially with your whole past situation, it can get a little convoluted and confusing, but theoretically, we don't know when you became the way you are, So maybe there was a period of time before you were shut down, and then now you're back. And theoretically, the power loss between then and now shouldn't be too drastic. So you should be good to run and operate for at least a little while. Again, I mean, I can't even try and quantify it or benchmark it or anything like that. It's just not feasible without an actual arcane battery, which Black Star has, but we don't even know where to begin.
Mm. Yes.
So it's a tough circumstance, but I think as of right now, there's bigger things to worry about. I think as of right now, you're more likely to die at the hands of the chainless than at the hands of your own battery.
That's a fair point. But dying in the purpose of something is better than wasting away, I suppose.
Maybe, but wasting away encapsulates a lot of things. You know, is it wasting away if you have no purpose but you enjoy your life?
That is a question I wish to think about. My one last question to you is, do you think the foreign objects in me is what provides my independency that everyone alludes to? Because if I'm supposed to be some guard to a court, I don't think I would have free thought.
Well, we can boil it down to a couple of ideas. Um, Theoretically, it is genuinely just a very liberal and free-thinking royal, and encourages that line of thinking for their people and for their guards, you know, and that is a total possibility, which is why you could be functioning that way in some kind of way that you're designed. I need to come up with a word for that, like maybe programming. Um, but but I mean, there's also a chance that, you know, over the course of time, we don't know how long it has been since you've, you know, been offline, or your memories were maybe downloaded and taken somewhere else. Um, but uh, you know, there's a possibility that there's some kind of defect, and if that's the case, then I know I don't consider it a defect. I think you're great the way you are. I don't mean to say that you're like flawed or like broken or anything like that. I okay. Um, and I guess the last theory that one can have is that you're some kind of, I guess it's kind of like being hypnotized. Like maybe there's a trigger word that sends you into different modes or systems, and you know, you're allowed to think freely outside of work. But you know,
Mm.
if a royal goes ahead and says one word and snaps their fingers, then you're in, you know, you're locked in, and that's the way you're going to be until they say it again.
That's a very good point.
But I mean, it's all just theories, and it's from stuff that, you know, you read fiction books and read a little bit of nonfiction, and you just kind of bundle up together. Because I mean, some of the stuff that we see is so bizarre that it can't possibly be quantified by complete fact. It's just not possible.
Thank you, Xander. You have given me insight and much to ponder. I appreciate your intelligence and your willingness to have this discussion. Thank you.
Yeah. I mean, as you know, as long as you're open to it, I'm never gonna not tell you the truth. Lying makes me puke. So I don't really like to do that. Thank you for being here and being you.
Thank you. Thank you. Christy
Actively sobs.
Yeah.
Well, as far as I can tell, I will be here as long as I am needed. And it seems it is going to be a while.
Yeah, it does seem that way, doesn't it?
And then B2's gonna give his classic thumbs up middle finger. And then just gonna kind of walk over to where Garen is and be like, Garen, it is very good to talk to Xander. He helps. And then kind of walk away.
Wait. I was hearing what you were saying. You're not gonna die. As long as I stand,
I mean,
you won't fall.
we all die eventually.
Not with me around. And I'm gonna like fist bump his chest. And if I need to rip out one of those batteries from another one of those things that I fought, then I'll make sure to do that. That as long as I'm here, you're not going to fall.
B2's gonna take that moment and he's gonna look at his own fist and just gently do it back. And
No. I'm eating. No.
I will have your back.
That's his chest, B2.
Oh, I will always have your chest.
That's. I know you will, B2.
But
Now go.
there's some good heartfelt RP, everybody. That was good. And then I guess B2 will go kind of like take his position, like he's ready to take guard and just kind of ponder.
Mm-hmm. Louise, as the hours of the evening grow to a close, before anybody even like fully beds down for the evening, maybe you're still eating your meals or snacking or something, just kind of thinking about what's going on. There is definitely a very distinct and low humming sound, like out in the forest. Kind of like take a minute and listen for it. It sounds sourceless, almost like it's all around you. And then after listening for like a full minute, you're able to pinpoint the fact that it is in a certain location, kind of off to your left, and it seems to be heading loosely in the direction of where you're camped. And you just catch through the darkness just very little bead of light, like out in the forest that you didn't see previously. I don't think Louise actually did. Louise?
No, I don't think I did. No, I was sleeping, and they woke us up when we had to run.
Right.
So I didn't see it. Yeah.
So it's just kind of moving around.
Guys, there's something or someone just over there. It's like there's a light that way.
B2 will take a look.
Yeah, as soon as he points it out to you, you can see the light is getting closer. And the sound that it's making, even from this distance, is the same as the one that B2 attacked and hit the last night.
I'll follow along with B2 if he's heading toward it.
Should we distract it to go somewhere else. That's the thing that scanned us the other night.
How do we do that? Do you have a spell for something like that, Xander?
Um, I mean,
Well, it seems more like something
I mean,
Shadow, Black Star.
I mean,
we're trying to
Xander
hide
needs to.
us.
Yeah, because you're just. We assumed you would cast Tiny Hut.
I was gonna say, yeah, I could
Yeah,
just
yeah,
put up
yeah.
a
So
tiny
we
hut.
do have that.
Hmm.
Oh, did we? We did do that, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, I was gonna say I'll like I'd probably have it up already.
Yeah, yeah. And
But-
do remember, if you have it up, you need to stay in the hut, because if you leave, it disappears.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd probably keep it up, but if I noticed it like scanning the hut, then like I'd probably end up dropping it so that we could all scatter. Kind of confuse it. That would be my game plan.
So at the beginning of whenever you're going to take your long rest is when you would put it up, is what you're saying, right? So we haven't gotten to that point
Yes.
quite yet. It's almost we were almost
Well, I
there.
mean, we are technically long resting right now.
Well, I'm
we're
saying
not sleeping.
this is still the point before you've actually bedded
No,
down
'cause
for the evening.
Yeah,
Right.
because a long rest, technically by the rules, it's 6 hours of sleep and 2 hours of light activity.
Oh, I never knew that.
You know.
Technically by raw.
I'm just stating that your tiny hut probably wouldn't be up at this exact moment, but you can put it up if you want to.
Okay,
the
11
drone
minutes.
again, it's not like making a beeline for your camp. It doesn't look like it knows you're there. You've seen how fast, or at least B2 and Razir have seen how fast these things can move. And Garen, briefly, after having woken up, saw it like take off at Mach 10 out into the woods, basically. Just fired off. So it can move very quickly, and it's doing more of a thorough investigation of whatever part of the forest it's in, and it's not just heading straight for you. So you probably have a good number of minutes before it gets to where you are. If it even goes directly over your camp, maybe it'll miss and go around or something. You're not sure at this distance. Probably a couple 100 feet away from you at this point. You can just see the light that's out there as it's looking like it's trying to find something. So do you wish to cast your tiny hut at this point?
If you guys plan on doing something, you got to do it now.
Yeah, I mean at this point, hold on. So did people keep track of my? We didn't long rest after. the
We
combat,
long
right?
rested after the fight with the
Oh, we
the
did?
shadow
So-
people.
so-
Yeah,
Okay.
you're topped off. Yeah.
Oh, so I'm top
So
off?
we didn't prepare any other spells. If you would, we don't know if you would have changed
No, that's
that.
fine. At that point, then I wouldn't. I'd probably just cast Tiny Hut as is, instead of as ritual.
Is it an action?
Alright.
Yeah.
A
No,
minute.
it's
It's 1 minute. Okay. Yeah. Makes sense.
Yeah, and I cast Pass Without a Trace.
What color do you make the tiny hut?
Probably as close to transparent as possible to help us mesh in with the surroundings.
Transparent. Okay.
Yeah.
Has to be a solid color, right? So
Yeah, as close to transparent. Like I wanted to try and blend in with the area, so like we're in like a swampy area.
yeah, so there's lots of greens and browns and
Yeah,
some gray
I'd probably-
coloration.
I'd probably do. Hold on, do I have to
Bright
select
pink it is.
one? Hold on.
Neon green.
Oh, the dome is opaque from the outside of any color you choose, but transparent. So can I do a little gradient action? Can I get a little gradient action going on here, Timothy?
Sure.
Can I do like a little bit like dirt on the bottom, like brown, and then like gradient to green up
Sure.
top?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
seems
so
like a
that's-
reasonable thing to request.
that's what I'm-
I like the idea of we're like all like, all right, is he done yet? And he's like, that's perfect. This needs to be.
It's like a Photoshop. Like I'm dragging the anchor to make it to make the gradient deeper.
Mhm.
I'm like, oh, it's not quite there yet.
Yeah, I'm not going to give you like full camo on this thing,
That's fine.
but gradient color is fine. Yeah, so you feel fairly well hidden. I believe sound still transfers back and forth, no problem. It doesn't like block sound or anything. So you wait over the course of the next 3 or 4 minutes. There was the casting of the Pass Without a Trace, but everybody's just kind of sitting still inside of the dome. So I don't think I would ask for a stealth check in this moment unless somebody thinks they have to sneeze. But even even with that, I'm just kind of joking, obviously. So so the drone eventually does approach. It looks like it gets to like the outskirts of where the dome is. Like it almost completely passes directly over you, but it's like at the outskirts. Kind of scans some of the nearby plants, and you can Xander can now get an up close look at this, as can the rest of the party. And it definitely is a cantaloupe sized, part translucent crystal mixed with metal, and because it's constantly moving, it's like doing little quick movements around. You're not able to get like a fixed moment in time where you can really fully examine it to see if there's any lettering on it or anything, but it's moving. There's this like beam of light coming out of it. It looks like it's scanning things, and that's what's creating the ambient light in the space. Part of its scanning beam does kind of glaze over a part of the dome for a second, and then it like glances away, and then the drone stops for like just like a second. Like it's glanced almost like somebody saw something and then looked away and then realized they saw something and paused for a second, and then the beam kind of comes back over to the dome, and the orb kind of like rapidly like right over the dome and begins doing like an intricate like detailed. The beam is not coming through the dome, but you do notice that it seems to have stopped directly over Black Star. I'm sorry, not Black Star, B2. And looks like it's trying to, like, it's almost as if the drone can see B2 through it, even though you know it can't, and is like desperately trying to scan him through the dome, but the beam is not piercing the dome. Do you do anything in this moment?
So the beam isn't piercing it?
Correct.
Okay. But it sees us.
No, well, we don't know.
You don't know, but it seems like it's really trying really hard to scan B2, almost as though it knows. It's not like scanning in random areas. It's like B2's there. B2 was like kind of looking for a second, and then it just like zip, right over B2 and is like trying to. Yeah.
I'm gonna do something.
Wait! Before you attack it, what if we put B2 in the hole and close the hole?
I would. I was gonna do something else. But I don't want to mention my plan in case people. What? No,
you guys are having this conversation?
No.
You're not?
I mean,
are you or aren't you?
I was saying it as me, not as,
okay.
Like to Felix.
Yeah, I thought Garen was like, wait, I have a plan. Like, so Garen would just want to attack it. That's why.
Yeah, Garen would just go straight in. Yeah, I'm gonna rage and try to grapple it.
Wow. Okay.
I'm gonna hold it because I'm.
So nothing else is happening. Garen just like says, "I'm gonna do something." Like jumps out of the.
I picture dome. B2 has 1 foot in the hole. Like, oh.
Okay. So you kind of like reach your hand out because it's pretty much right above the dome, so it's not hard for you to stand up and just reach out and grab onto it. So go ahead and make an athletics check.
Oh heck yes!
What are those sea creatures that lie in sand and like launch up and grab?
The ant lions?
Yeah, that's what Garrett is right now.
If he beats this, screw him.
Oh, whoops.
Wait, how long does inspiration last for? It'd be gone by now, right?
You mean
when I was
Bardic inspiration? I think it's 1 minute, isn't it? Or is it?
I think it's
for
10 minutes.
Yeah, I think it would be done. Yeah.
Yeah, it's gone. Yeah.
Because I never used it. You're right.
Oh yeah, for sure. So you reach out and you grab onto it, and it like shudders for a second and like starts to pull away, and you manage to keep your grip on it.
Thank God.
And so you have this cantaloupe thing in your hand, and it is actively trying to pull away, and you feel you're having to like dig your feet into the ground because you know how fast this thing can travel, and it is like trying to get away from you.
Is there a way to stop this?
I don't know. It's the first time seeing one.
I guess you know what I'll do, because it doesn't require me to break any kind of concentration. Tiny hut isn't even concentration. Here's what I'll do. I'll use a stasis on it.
Okay.
So it has to make a con saving throw of 16.
Okay. It was a 15.
Okay. So the creature is encased in a field of magical energy until the end of my next turn. So for 6 seconds, it's encased in like this blue field where it just doesn't move.
So just in your hands, Garen, as you're grabbing onto it, there's like this kind of like bubble or orb around it, and you feel the resistance completely go away from like it can't pull away from you at this point.
If you want to break it, do it now.
One just very, very quick point of note that's kind of inconsequential, but just for kind of a flavor thing. As it was trying to break away from you, the scanning beam that it has, I'm assuming just your arms were sticking out of this dome, right? And you didn't like your whole entire body came out of it, just your arms. It did turn and was like attempting to try and scan the side of your arm, but it was for like half a second, and then the stasis field went around it, so it didn't really do anything. But that's what it was trying to do. Xander yells out, "If you're gonna break it, do it now."
Can I wail on it? No.
So he can attack it while it's in this stasis mode, right? Okay.
Oh yeah, and it doesn't break stasis. That's not how this works.
Yeah, I'm gonna go in.
It is considered incapacitated, so you should get advantage.
I just think there's a lot of information to be taken from this thing, so I'm going to attack if the DM will allow it.
Sure. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. So advantage.
Make sure you specify it's non-lethal damage.
Yes.
And the
Tactical.
the
Woo!
Nice. Wow.
Smoke this thing.
When you raged and then you grappled, that would have been like an action, essentially, right?
Yeah.
Technically, it can replace one of his attack with not an attempt to grapple or shove someone.
So how many attacks do you have?
I just have one. Dang it.
Well, no. Well, theoretically, he should have 3.
No, because he uses bonus action to rage, so he'd have 1 left.
I used my bonus action rage, then I grappled, so I only have 1. So that nat 20 was wasted.
So you would grappled.
You could also just use a
Xander
second rage.
used his action to stasis, which kind of like overlapped yours, and then you have your attack, which I'm allowing to happen, right? Yeah. Do you still have the one attack?
Yeah. I mean, if it's the same turn that I had, then yeah, I would have 1 attack.
Just use your natural 20. Go ahead and roll your damage on that.
Yeah, because I was just going to say, incapacitated doesn't give you advantage.
It doesn't?
Yeah, it does.
No, it just makes it so you can't take actions. I just checked. I was like,
then I would have reckless attacked then if that was the case. Yeah.
Just roll your damage.
You got your nat 20. Don't.
It's Felix advocating in the favor of fairness and using the rules as they are, and I appreciate that. But we're going to move on from this moment.
Yeah.
And keep going. That total critical damage doesn't seem right because
it'd be 17 was the regular damage, and the extra die was 4, D8. So that would be an 8.
You have a plus 10 on your damage?
Yeah.
Okay. Your bludgeoning critical damage, which should have been
8 plus he gets an extra die since he's a barbarian.
He rolled a 1.
Yeah. That one is we decided last time I critted that one doesn't get the
correct
like to immediately go to 8.
So it should have been a total of 27 damage.
not 26. 17
Take the
plus
extra
8
take the extra damage.
plus 1.
25, 20 plus 1 is 26. Yes, you're right.
Yeah.
It is just 26. Chris is like, this is so painful. Just let it happen. If the DM says 27, say okay.
I'm gonna call out to B2. B2, hit this thing.
Oh yeah, my lightning damage. So yeah, I'll
Mhm.
then go at it.
Yep. So in its stasis mode, Garen just winds up and hits this thing, and it like seems like it partially like crumples inwards, and then the crystals on the inside kind of flare up, and this is just all for flavor, and then it just kind of like re-expands back into place. B2, did B2 roll for an attack?
Nope. I'm gonna, as a bonus action, do fighting spirit to give myself advantage.
Heck yeah.
Okay.
Oh, wait, it's just covered.
I hope this is also a natural 20.
Yeah.
Close.
24,
It
yeah.
is a 2.
Mm-hmm. Definitely hits.
So 4 lightning damage, because I think that did, if I remember correctly, it was
Which is doubled.
Yes,
So 17, 18
Yeah,
damage
18,
total?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
if I get my second attack, I'll go again if it doesn't go down.
yeah, it does not go down.
What if we do it again?
You hit it,
Is it
it crackles. There's sparks.
I still get advantage. Oh my goodness. 17.
No.
I believe
I think it's DC was
17.
18.
17 just misses, unfortunately. So just glances off to the side.
Well then,
You probably nick my finger a little.
oops, sorry.
Hit it!
I think B2 was a little concerned about hitting Garen, that he kind of pulls short.
Okay.
I'm made of stone.
Is Louise doing anything?
It's made of metal. Yeah, I do a shillelagh and try to whack it twice with my stick.
Okay.
Oh wait, because it. Wait, am I still grappling it?
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah.
Maybe that's the top of my turn.
The extra D4.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's at the beginning of the turn. Yeah.
Thank you.
13 does not hit, unfortunately. This solitary. Oh, that just hits.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
1d8.
Yeah.
Plus 1d4 from favorite foe and 1d6 from gathered swarm. So 14, 15.
Okay. Are you intending on killing this device? Is your damage is full on damage? It's a drone, so I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's a
how you can
drone.
do
So how do
non-lethal
you
damage.
distinguish between
Yeah, how
le-
do you non-lethal? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like even if I knew it, like it was a drone, would I know where to hit it to incapacitate it? Like
No, that's a good
I'm not
question.
that smart. Yeah.
So, with a resounding crash, there's a. You hit it, and inside of the stasis field, it just literally like cracks in half. There's a lot of like seemingly pent up energy within these crystals that just kind of like escapes and go. Well, the stasis probably keeps it in, but we'll just flavor it that the power just kind of spirals and goes out into the atmosphere. Yeah, and it is. There's no longer thrumming. There is no scanning going on, and it sits there lightly smoking as the stasis finally falters or fails or however you want to describe it, and the remnants of it just sit in Garen's hands.
Xander, what could you learn from this? That was the only reason I did this.
I mean, I don't know. You're gonna have to put it down in front of me. You know.
Should we maybe put it in the hole and get out of here?
As far as I know, as long as we stopped it from telling its buddies.
Yeah, but we
That
don't
we-
know how it works. Maybe there's more of them. And
The recon that it's been destroyed.
yeah.
We we just set up. Yeah, maybe that's a good idea. We'll just do what we did last time and walk 30 minutes in a different direction.
Because it didn't find us afterwards.
Yeah. Okay.
Even though
yeah.
it did scan Razier. The first one did.
Yeah.
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 All right,
He wasn't robot enough. He just had the one hand. So
we will pick up camp and move on to like 30 minutes in like east.
Probably
or
away,
west.
a little bit away from the blooming field. I feel like we don't want to rest like into the blooming field.
Then yeah.
Well, you're a couple hours from the Blooming Grove at this
Oh,
point.
okay. All right, cool.
Like, at least 2 hours outside of it.
Okay, I couldn't remember if it was like right on the edge. So
yeah, yeah. So yeah, south is further into the bone fields. We'll call them.
No.
That's the direction you're eventually going to be heading in, and then of course there's east and west, and then north is where you came from. So
gotcha.
What direction did this thing come from?
That's a good question. From where it was pointed out to the group by Louise, from like a southeast direction.
Go a little northwest.
I say we go, yeah.
There's no way for us to know where they're coming from, so, I mean, we can have an idea, but we just gotta kind of move.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Northwest it is.
Pick up all your stuff. You take about 30 minutes and continue trudging through the jungle and away from. You kind of pick out a couple of landmarks so you can easily find your way back to the spot, because this is like the next landmark that you're looking for to lead you on your way. So you're trying not to get lost. Also, it is pitch black out, although that's not a problem for everybody except for B2.
Yeah.
Because Garen has dark vision, right? Yeah.
Yep.
So
I think B2 just grabs onto Garen.
okay. Just kind of like stumbles here or there, but Garen keeps you nice and steady and on your footing, and make sure you don't.
I told you, if I stand, you will never fall.
B2 trips one time and I get Princess picked up.
Princess Carrie.
Nice. Okay. Feel pretty confident that you've walked far enough away. That you've not seen any other drones on your way to this new campsite location. But after setting up camp, a little while later, off in the distance, pretty far away from where you are, there is a similar thrumming sound about maybe 2 hours later, 2 or 3 hours later. Not of the drone, but of whatever the large thing was that flew overhead the previous night. This time, there is no flashing of light. There is no indication as to exactly what it's doing, but there is this strange noise that none of you have heard before, although B2 does kind of remind you of something, but you can't put your finger on it. There's this occasional beep sound, which is not something that anybody in a fantasy world would necessarily be hearing, for the most part. But just like there's like a beep 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 beep. It kind of like fades out, but it's like way off in the distance, and you don't see anything. There's no flashing lights. There's nothing. That's just very light sound. And then eventually the thrumming fades into the distance. It did seem as though, because you headed northwest, so this seemed like maybe it was heading south to north, which would be, across your path, going back in the direction you had come from. And then that sound just kind of fades into the night, and you are not disturbed again.
Woot woot.
So
Xander, can you set up another one of those?
Yeah, I will.
You can make it look all pretty again.
Yeah, the same. This time, I mean, it's no different, is it? Hold on.
Sure, you found more rocky terrain where you were.
No,
so now
that's
it's more...
not what I mean. That's
okay.
not what Yeah, no, it's no different. I mean, we're gonna take a long rest. Yeah, I'll cast it again, just with a minute long cast instead of virtual.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
And then once we're inside, I will take the Tinkerer's tools that I'm not proficient in and start trying to figure out what the heck this thing is.
And I also
Okay.
like not as intricate as Xander is doing, but like also just I want to look around it, look for names or anything to indicate where this thing is from, or any I can learn something from the. I went through a lot of trouble to do this, so I hope I get something out of it. Like Garrett, not Jason. Like,
I hope so too. I hope so too.
By getting something out of it, you mean at least some kind of information.
information
right?
specifically.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So you're. I don't know if Garen is traditionally trained in the ways of Arcana.
No.
Okay. Or the construction of Arcana based devices or technology. Being in Hyalus, there probably was Arcana things, but probably not like this. I think the only thing would be in that the thing you saw in the basin at Salagastres that you were fighting is probably your first run-in with any kind of technology of any kind that's not just basic magics and divinations and things like that. B2 was probably the second thing, which you know, we've known him for a couple of months now at most. So yeah, this is
Garen
all
did study abroad where Xander was raised, so he has a little bit of knowledge in there.
Okay. Cool.
No, it's absolutely a joke, so I don't want you taking that seriously. I couldn't tell if you were taking it seriously or not.
I was taking it totally seriously because I couldn't remember. So
no,
and as a DM, you just do the yes and or no.
I trust the players to give me truthful information so I can operate it based on those things.
I'm
you
glad
can totally joke with me.
Okay,
that's a you problem, Tim.
That isn't me problem. See, now you know my weakness, and you can just exploit that anytime you want. Yeah,
I mean, that's what I've been doing since the start.
Quest we did, we got 100K.
See, I'm the opposite. I always think my players are lying because they're how they trick me already in life. I'm like, not in D&D. You can't take it from me.
Mm-hmm. Well, I can tell you what I will tell you is that if I don't think that any of these you guys or anybody else that we play with would ever do that to me. But if that ever did start happening, this campaign would end so fast you have no idea. You have no idea. Yeah, not putting up with. Anyways, let's move on from that.
It's not fun to do that. But yeah, what am I rolling?
I guess you could roll an investigation check, and Xander, you can roll an Arcana check.
I don't know why I was so excited. It's just as good as my Arcana.
I'm Jason. Xander. Black Star will give you Bardic, his other.
Yeah, and I'll guidance you.
Oh, Garrett's gonna feel kind of upset that no one helped him.
I'm about to body this roll, guys.
Oh!
And then what's the Bardic? A D6?
D6, yeah.
D6.
Oh my god.
A 30.
28.
Total 30.
And
30.
Garen rolled a nat 20 on his investigation check to inspect this. Okay.
Garen put on some glasses.
Yeah. It's just like his large hands, really small glasses.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god.
So, what you gather from this, on the inside of this orb that's been cracked open, a lot of the innards of it have been damaged only because there's like bits of smoke coming out from it, like as though the innards of it have been burnt in some way, even though no fire damage was done to it. Maybe the lightning damage fried something on the inside. But as Xander, as you're examining it, you do pick out that there is a very tiny set into this. There's a sphere, and set into it are like 3 around the outside of it of these tiny little pearl-sized gem-looking things, but they have scrawled into them the lines, the same exact design that is on the arcane battery. So although it is not, these little gems are not made out of the same material as the arcane battery that you've examined, they have the same like the same architecture or scrawlings on them that make them look
the same
like
runes.
it. Yeah, exactly.
The same magical inscriptions.
But they're really, really small. There are little arcane cables similar to the one that you guys had found at the ruins, the Solium warehouse, whatever where the well was. Little tiny cables that connect these crystals that make up half of the outer shell. The other half of it is made of metal. The metal you do recognize. And it is of a same coloration or a similar coloration and hue to the onyx material that you've seen before. And so like the crystals are somehow channeled into this central device and then also channeled out to this metal section, and you kind of get the sense of looking at it in the way that it's constructed that maybe there was some kind of gravitational field that was generated around this thing that kept it aloft and flying, and also based on the onyx, which is you've thought about this a while since the Requiem and all of that this can definitely be used as a catalyst or an amplification method of arcane means, and that makes sense why this thing would be able to travel as fast as it does. The one thing even though you rolled so high, you can't figure out what the communication side of it is, because there's nothing like there's like a rune that would signify that, but not how it's producing the light or how it's storing information. But the general construction of it, you feel with that high of a roll that if you had the necessary materials, you may be able to recreate at least the basic functions of something like this in the future.
I'll put that in my notes. I may be able to recreate the basic functions of something like this in the future.
Oh God, are you gonna turn to the American government?
So, do you have anything else to say?
Well, Garen did roll in nat 20, so I was gonna shift over to that.
Go.
Okay. So Garen, the first thing that you notice as you're looking at this, and I'm sure that Xander is just diarrhea of the mouth, just so excited about what's going on here that he's just like thinking out loud. Or am I wrong in that? He's just silently.
No, he's totally thinking out loud.
Just okay. I think I know Xander by now, and he's just like, oh guys, and this, and this, and this, and this. And so Garen, you're like really taking it all in and appreciating it, but you pinpoint one thing that Xander didn't call attention to. And you just like instinctively reach in, and Xander, you look as a Garen hand just kind of passes your head as he reaches down and presses on a rune that you had missed. And the entire orb and reforms itself. And you like pull your finger out before it's crushed in amongst the crystals and the metal that kind of reforms. But it seems as though you don't know why this has happened, because Xander hadn't gotten to the point where he had discovered why it was able to do what it did. But it was smoking, and there is still a bit of smoke coming out of it, and there's a couple little, like, in the crystal texture, you can see that there's like little bits of electricity or arcane energy that are like sparking. Like maybe it's not fully functional. I mean, you did just destroy it after all, and it kind of like partially crumbled, but it reformed. It is not holding itself aloft, but it is very ever so slightly glowing. Something about this reminds you of some of the tubing and whatnot, the add-on sections of B2 that were described to you by Razir, who saw inside of B2.
Yeah.
And that is as much information as you all are going to get on your rolls on this device.
Yeah.
But
that's so cool.
It's lit up and in your hand. Xander.
Okay. That changes what I was gonna do. Ooh.
So you're saying you can make this?
I mean, it'll take some time and research, but the right materials. It'll be very basic unless we get a greater understanding of it. But maybe, um,
That's
Tim,
amazing.
for memory's sake, with the hammer that we have, uh, when you hit the piece of onyx with it, it disintegrates the onyx.
If you are holding an object in one hand and strike a piece of onyx with the onyx hammer in your other hand, you duplicate the item held in your other hand when it shatters and then leaves behind a duplication of the item you held in your other hand made out of onyx.
Okay.
Or if you're holding nothing and you strike something, it just shatters into a million pieces.
Right. Okay. Noted. All right, then I'm not gonna touch it then. I was gonna take the pieces of it and kind of make little things with it, but now that it's together again, going through the effort of destroying it is a little much now. Okay, yeah.
I could just punch it again.
Well, no.
Okay.
I mean, you can punch it if it turns on again, but I mean, in its current state, it's actually, I think, better to study than a bunch of chunks and a mess of something that used to be. Now it's complete. Now I might be able to find some kind of a compartment or panel and crack that open, and then I'll be able to actually see how the things work together.
Okay, cool.
Thanks. This is helpful. It from what Razier was describing, it kind of looks like B2.
You guys related?
At least on the inside, a little bit.
It looks like the Shadowfell tech is what it looks like.
Oh, you said something about B2, no?
Yeah, because I have the Shadowfell technology.
Right. Yeah.
He has the tubing inside of
it
him.
Looks, I say it looks a little bit like B2, as in the insides of it, the meat, the meat of it. I mean, in a twisted way, maybe I don't know, sibling, but another version of you that's made for different things. This is it feels and looks, from what we know, like scouting tech. You're definitely more of a protector type. This is something different.
Well, from what I understand, that's pretty similar to how an army would operate, right? You would have different soldiers serve different purposes. So, and perhaps because of that similar technology, that's why it could see me through your magic?
Maybe.
I mean, back then it found us when we were at a place that seems to share that very technology. There's most likely a link between all three of those things.
Yes. Seems that it's clear that I have some connection to the Fey realm and Shadow.
Fell.
I've done it. The Fell. I was going to say Shadow Realm again. Thank you. I don't know why I'm getting stuck on that.
I mean, it is a Shadow Realm, kind of.
Yeah.
So it's fine.
So at some point, I don't know when, I think I have to go back. I think we'll just keep getting more questions.
I mean, we are going to save Buttercup, who also is from the well, no, she's from the Fey. Is it the Fey realm? So
Yeah.
yeah, no, it's the Feywild.
Feywild.
Feywild, yeah. Because like, why would it be Shadow Realm and not be Shadow Realm? Anyway, so maybe then again, he's very young, but maybe there's gonna be others or over there that might know more about where you're from.
Yes. And maybe this Buttercup, because I don't think B2 knows that it's a unicorn. So I think maybe this
I
Buttercup
think I might have mentioned it. Yeah.
might know more as well. Are they a noble warrior? I'm gonna pretend like B2 doesn't know.
No, baby unicorn.
Yes, I know what that is.
Basically a magical horse with a horn that comes out of its head like that.
I also know what a horse is.
Oh God, I forgot.
Oh wait, I do because
Razir.
Black Star did a horse face.
Oh yeah, with Spyro. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So, oh yes, yes. Okay. Can
Guys,
it talk?
how do we pee in the dome?
You can. Well, all of us can leave
And-
except for you.
I've got to pee.
You can. That was great.
That's a good exit.
That was funny.
I mean, as soon as he leaves the dome, it goes down, so he's gonna have to
Yeah.
cast it again. I'm just
Yeah.
joking. hmm
I'm writing notes. Sorry.
No, you're good.
We'll blame you for that.
I appreciate that you're taking notes. Whoever does take them, that is Chris can tell you.
Yes.
That is a wonderful quality to have as a player.
So, I never asked this before, but why are you saving this unicorn?
Well, at first it was because it's I guess you wouldn't call it a little kid, but it was a little kid who we met's friend. And afterwards, when we met with Garen, the leader of the resistance, he said he'd
Garrett.
pay us. Garrett, sorry.
Oh,
Garrett. No, sorry, guys.
I'm like, how did you know? That was part of my backstory.
Yeah. After we met Garrett, he told us he'd pay us 100,000 gold. He'd pay us if we destroyed the Chainless bases. So we got an extra reason to go do that.
You're not telling them how much.
I don't remember how much. That's why.
10,000
10,000
per
yeah. Is
chainless
it per
base.
base? Yeah. I mean, there's two of them. That's why.
That you know
That's why I said 100,000 to go back to earlier when you said
Oh.
if someone were to do that.
Uh-huh. All right, guys,
So,
the
hey,
campaign's over.
Final session. How was it?
I finally find a campaign and it dies. My curse is real.
Oh no.
No.
Wow, 10,000. That's way more than I've ever seen. But it definitely seems worthy of the price to take down an entire. He paid you just you guys to take down
No,
an
he's
entire.
gonna pay us after we've done it. So if we don't do it, he's gonna keep his gold.
Right, but I was more. He sent 4 people to take down an entire.
Well, he sent our group. You could say so. It's
Oh,
not.
you guys did have other people. All right.
And
Yeah.
Louise would remember that there was that Matthias Terramore was a high-ranking member of the rebellion. who was a very, very powerful wizard, at least at one point, who was
we
overseeing the
told him.
operations on Sayor. But I'm just Louise would probably include this information in what he's responding to Garen with, or if Louise is trying to just mess with Garen and be like, yeah, just the four of us, it's all good.
Because I thought we told them already that Matthias was part of the resistance and stuff like that. That's why I didn't bring it back up.
No.
Ooh, that. So I'm guessing there's going to be a bit of friction once
I mean,
Garrett finds out.
I believe my brother already told them that Matthias died with the Sending Stone, yeah.
And he was cool. He was cool.
I mean, he had more problems on his end with the Chainless taking over River, which is where he was based at.
Or what if he'll add another 10K if we liberate River?
I mean, like a whole city is a lot. And they have freaky giant spiders. Like,
I mean, those guys are honestly pretty tasty, so.
Wait, you've eaten giant sentient spiders?
Sentient? I don't know what that means, but
they can talk and they run shops in the drivers.
You just said giant spiders. I've eaten giant spiders.
Alright, just not giant sentient spiders.
Again? Oh, you just explained what it meant. Yeah, I've never. I don't think I'd eat if he spoke to me. That'd be kind of awkward. Anyways,
B2's just taking all this information.
Oh my god!
I don't know what spiders are.
In these moments, I wish we had a druid who could shapeshift into the different animals to show.
Well, Blackstar's got the illusion, but I don't know if he'd actually use it.
Yeah.
Oh, I also have my pipe of the smoke monster, which I can make tiny monsters out of smoke to show him as well.
Oh, Xander, you're done? All right, I'm gonna go take a leak.
I mean, we can leave the dome to do that. He can't leave the dome because if he does, the dome disappears.
I'm not listening. I'm out.
We went over that. I made a joke about the fact because Jason got up and walked away that the dome went down.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
He's got to pee through the dome.
Well, my joke is built upon the fact that he left the dome and he came back.
Yes. But, I got it, 100%.
Yeah, I left.
Pinky Toe leaves the dome. Dome's gone.
Yeah.
All right, take a long rest.
Pretty productive conversation. I was waiting for somebody else to say something, but yeah.
I'm done with my RP.
No, I'm just...
Okay. Bed down for the evening.
Actually, one last thing. Sorry, before we go to bed, B2, Xander, Garen, and Louise, please make a wisdom save for enthralling performance. I've been when I said I was going to play Black Star, I was like, this is the one thing I have to do to honor Alex.
I'm gonna go use the bathroom, and you're gonna make me love this guy.
Okay, you saved. I was like, I got to do this.
What the heck? I'm not excited anymore. I want these in a fight.
Oh my! Are you kidding me? What?
Yeah, we all.
And you said Razir as well, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, I forgot.
He didn't say Razir, I don't think.
I said Louise.
Yeah. Louise. Yeah. I rolled.
So, what's funny? I like to believe that he already started singing, and everyone just good night and walks away from him.
Yeah.
Yep. Because they have to be actively listening for it to make a difference, right? For 1 minute, I think.
Yeah, it's something like that.
Yeah. Okay. You tried. Chris, and it was unsuccessful. And it would have been great if Alex was actually here for that to happen. It would have been perfect. Everybody succeeded on their saving throw.
Nat 20s.
Uh-huh.
When it
can't
counts,
believe
the nat 20s come through.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. B2 and Razir, stay up and take their shifts, and the rest of the evening goes by just about without issue at all. There is a point, B2, where you're just kind of keeping an eye out on things without dark vision, and there's really no light here except for just the little bits of star and moonlight that kind of trickle through the various leaves. And you do see a tiny little furry creature, although it's one you've not seen before. So you don't know what it's called. And it's kind of cute, but only in a small furry creature kind of sense. And I'm not even going to give you a description of exactly what it looks like because you can't really make it out with the very, very low light that's here. But it is kind of scampering through. It heads off, kind of comes over, sniffs at the dome a little bit. You just kind of hear the sound. And just a little tiny bit of rain begins at the later part of the early morning. That was a terrible sentence. Sorry. As it leaves the dome and heads off into the rest of the jungle, it's quite a ways off at this point, but you've got nothing else to look at as it's dark and you just kind of barely see it darting through these moon shafts that are coming down. It does. Alex messaged, am I still alive? Everybody needs to respond no. It's amazing. What is That's so good. Wow. As this little furry creature gets way off in the distance away from you, there's a flash of purple energy that's a couple 100 feet away. You've lost sight of it, but you've just kind of looked off in that direction to see if maybe it'll come back. But there's just a flash, purple energy, and then you hear a roaring sound of way off in the distance of something, and it only lasts for a couple of seconds, and there's the sound of a tree being chopped in half and falling down and hitting the ground, and the sound of a boulder rolling off to the side, but you can't really see most of it. You just hear these sounds of some large creature that's crashing through the underbrush, and then there's another sound, and everything is silent almost instantaneously.
I poke Garen with the butt of my point.
Oh, what?
There was a lot of noise, and then it went all quiet. I think a small little fur beast chopped down a tree. And then rolled.
Eloise, are you okay? Is that his name? Enosis? Edois?
Oh yeah, I totally forgot about that.
Enosis?
Enosis, yeah, there we go. Yeah.
Yeah, he hasn't had any dialogue. Oh yeah, Xander's never even talked to Enosis. That's funny.
I just called out to him to see if he's all right.
You call out to him,
but
so he's parked right next to your tiny hut.
He's disguised as a tree. I imagine his roots are
disguised as a tree. He is a tree.
Oh yeah, a not living talking.
Right.
Tree.
It's that. One eye opens and kind of looks down at the dome. Yes.
Yeah, that's the only tree we need to worry about. Me too.
I heard the sounds. And he's not at all whispering. It's he doesn't have the capacity to whisper. I heard the sounds, and they were loud and disturbing, but they weren't really affecting us, were they? So I've just been minding my own business. Yeah. You do an awful lot of talking and not an awful lot of moving and action. So I'm just waiting until we arrive at the chainless base, and then we'll have more to do and less to talk about. Or
Garen
maybe
fell asleep.
you'll find a way to have more. You fell asleep?
Yeah, it was like his voice was kind of just relaxing and like kind of vibrating. So he's just like, all right, yeah.
B2 is intently listening, like just like.
So he
Getting all
finishes
this,
his
Garen.
sentence, just like kind of like hangs for a second as he realizes that Garen has just rolled over and gone back to sleep, and then refocuses his attention on B2. So maybe you all will find more reason to talk than is really necessary, but we'll get there when we get there.
Yes, I imagine with the pace our group normally goes, it should be another 2 weeks.
2 days,
And
Black.
he-
2 days, BT.
B2. And he just, like the Enosis just kind of gives a knowing nod. And then closes the one eye. Totally believing 2 weeks is what it's going to be.
I mean, out of game is gonna be 2 months.
I hope
No,
not.
we're like right there. Yeah, I say I give us like 3 weeks, a month tops.
Should be. You will get there probably not next session, but I'm assuming the session after is what I'm assuming. Although we spent an hour and a half with a little drone thing for this evening, so
That was awesome.
who knows? It was awesome. Okay, nothing else exciting happens. You all get in your long rest.
Nice.
Woo.
It is.
I knew I would.
I get my rage
Do we level
back.
up? Do we level up? It has been 8 months.
You only know that because I told you.
Huh? Yeah, you're right. But you've told me now, so now I can hold it over you.
And now it's painful.
You gave him ammunition.
You've given me ammunition.
Yeah, no, unfortunately not.
As a player, I can't mark long rest on Black Star's D&D Beyond. Just
I mean, did he use any spell slots?
yeah, I've used Bardic Inspirations, and he had used spell slots since then
Yeah, all right.
as well.
Just
So
tell him, just like
I just
when I was playing Xander, I casted Fireball once, but we took a long rest, so I just told them, like, hey,
I just
we
did
long rested. So,
I
Perfect.
just marked a long rest, yeah, for Blackstar. I will do so also for Razir. I'm assuming I need to do one on him, or
yeah, he casted a 4th level spell slot.
there you go, all set. I don't use D&D Beyond for characters very often, so I often have to go and look at the interface. I don't even know how to use the. I use it for source material and looking things up, but not for making characters. So, anyways,
That's all I use it for.
mm-hmm. Oh,
I think today's our last day with it, the cold resistance.
mm-hmm.
If
Yeah.
not, the like part of the day.
Yeah, I let Alex keep track of that. So.
Yeah, I think by the end of this next day, it will be gone.
Okay.
Yep, for
So
sure.
it was 72 hours.
Yeah.
So we got from there, we half day at the Gastra's place afterward. Full day's travel.
We long rested at least
2
3
days,
times.
so 2 full travel. 2, so 48 plus 12, 50. So yeah, you have.
We long rested the day that we got it at Salagastres. Then we long rested once from travel. And now we're long resting again.
When you were leaving the Blooming Grove, at that exact moment, I remember Alex saying that there were 38 hours left of the cold resistance, and you traveled 2 hours away from that. You spent at least 3 hours in camp, or like talking and everything. Then you moved 30 minutes away. So that's like 5, bringing it down to 33. Then you just long rested for 8 hours, bringing it down to 25. So I guess it wouldn't be by the end of this day. It would be like the beginning of the next day. But
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, we'll probably have this whole conversation all over again next session when Alex joins us. So
As you do.
mhm.
Okay.
No,
I mean,
Felix-
Black Star's dead, so he's not gonna. Black Star's dead, so he's not gonna care about the timer anymore.
exactly.
I'm so excited to see this new character of his.
I'm never going to be trusted to play another person's character ever.
I should have said that. Chris failed it at yeah. It's hilarious. Okay. You wake up the following day. It is warm and humid. The light pattering of rain the night before has turned into more of a steady rain, causing everything to be slick and wet and very, very humid. Just sticky and gross, and there's more mud than usual. The tiny hut goes away at the tail end of the 8 hours, and where it was dry and comfortable on the inside, it sets in that you're in a jungle, and it really hasn't rained, I don't think, at all since you've been out in this jungle, and it looks like the weather is not going to get better, that it is probably going to get worse as the day progresses. So whatever preparations you might want to do, I'm sure Garen would like some trail snacks. So
early morning push-ups.
Yep. So you gather your things and start, or I'll let you tell me what you're gonna do.
I'll get Garen some trail mix for the day.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I do.
As B2, I'm gonna kind of investigate where I saw that furry creature. I'm not gonna go like exploring far, but I'm just gonna kind of, now that I can see better, kind of try to see in between the trees and just kind of be concerned. And now have a new fear of maybe squirrels. Who knows?
Sure. Make a perception check for me.
What if we tell B2 that that's what a squirrel is?
Dude,
Nice.
no chance, bro. That would be so messed up.
Just kind of, corrupting him into thinking that all woodland creatures turn into monsters at night.
They're just squirrels. They're the only one who do it.
So you don't go all the way over to where you assume this happened, right? You're just kind of like trying to see from where you are. So this is in an eastern direction from where you guys are. So it wouldn't be that far out of the way if you did want to go and take a look. But from this distance, you can see that a tree was sundered in half, but not like saw blade sundered. Looks like it was something with giant hands took it and ripped it in half, and one guy, it's like the top half of the tree is kind of like leaning up against a pile of rocks, which you can just kind of barely pick out from this distance. Not many other details that you can see from this distance. Just a thrashed about section of the jungle. That's about it. Something went down over there.
Yeah, I think heeding the advice that was given, if it's no concern to us, then it's no concern of us. And B2 is just kind of gonna, he's still going to make it like his personal concern, but he's not gonna let the party know, because he's like, it seemed that the Garen and Anosis didn't care, so he's kind of like, all right, but he's still concerned.
So Enosis, after seeing everybody's, has woken up and is getting ready to go, there's like this really creepy slurping sound as the roots pull themselves out of the wet earth that the rain has now been pouring down on top of him for quite some time. It's like the is being pulled out and kind of like almost like spider-like limbs a little bit. It's not like he's bipedal. He definitely has four. I don't think I ever mentioned that. He definitely has four legs for sure that are allowing him to. He's got other roots and things that are kind of spreading out, almost like super long toes, which is a little kind of weird looking. But pulls the roots out of the ground and kind of gets ready to go forward. Kind of like puts one of his limbs up against the side of another tree that's motionless and kind of taps on it and like leans in real close and smells the bark. It's going to be a good day. I think we can continue walking, and we should be nearing our destination within the next day or day and a half. Just from smelling the bark, I can tell. The trees talk to me.
Wait, so they can talk to you, but you still had to smell them.
The smelling of it was more of a formality, and I just
So
enjoy the
that's how you say
interaction.
hi. Is that it?
It's kind of more of giving it special attention and assuring it that it's safe. But
Alright.
Okay.
I wouldn't expect you to understand the ways of trees. So
I mean, usually like cats and dogs, like they come up to smell you to see like if you're nice and all, but
I don't think we
it being
have.
like the other way around, like you sniffing them to tell them you're nice, it's just kind of.
I haven't really heard of. Oh well, no. I've met Nariman, and he's one of these coats that you mentioned, and we don't really have too much else in the way of dogs. So
Dogs.
Is this his accent?
he doesn't really have an accent. He's just mispronouncing these words. That's all.
Dogs.
Boom.
Kind of-
999.
It sounds like Felix.
1,000.
Wow.
All right, I'm ready to go.
All right.
Hmm.
As the rain pours down, you all continue to make your way south. Within a very short period of time, getting back to these large trenches that are filled with leaves, and at least on the top layer, you know that you're supposed to find or follow these lines in the ground. And it's not just, after doing some examination and looking at everything, it's not just one trench that points in a kind of a southwestern direction to some extent. It's not just one trench. There's like one after the other, and they're not all in a straight line. They're kind of staggered, but they all are all kind of facing, so to speak, in the same direction, and they're all filled with skeletons. Like thousands and thousands and thousands of humanoid individuals perished at one point and were all dumped in a ditch and not even properly covered over with dirt. They were just left in this ditch and then eventually covered over with leaves, and some of the vines had grown through them a bit. Is there any investigation of this that anybody does, or do you want to just move on to the next leg of this? You seem to have found at least the lines in the swamp left by the dead, although they weren't really left by the dead, they were left of the dead.
Left of the dead.
The dead.
I think I played that game.
left for dead. Mm-hmm. The dead were left.
I think B2 would just think this is like human nature, and it's just kind of like, yeah.
This is disgusting. Do we know if these are done by the chainless?
So they're not like decomposing bodies; they are just full-on skeletons, and there is a good amount of.
I'm not saying disgusting as in like grossed out. More like he's really angry that people are getting killed here or something like that.
I mean,
it's a weird choice of words for Garen. It's
Yeah.
definitely normal for me though.
Sure. You want to make a medicine check to see if you can tell how, not only how they were killed or how long they've been here. Maybe.
I was just gonna say with
If I-
the
if I
amount of
see him-
bodies.
If I see him looking at that, I'll take a peek too, I guess.
Okay. So you can.
I'm gonna recklessly check. That gives me advantage.
not quite. So he rolled a single. Okay, so Xan. Okay, Xan
Yeah. Okay. It's still at least something.
I mean, you
No,
have the
it's
same
not.
bonus as Xander.
Yeah, Garen, you're not really sure.
I imagine I accidentally chip a piece off by accident.
Yeah, the teeth are still in the jaw of most of these individuals, and you just kind of like a couple of the teeth ding, 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 fall inside of the skull. Xander, as you're looking at them, there are markings on all of them, but not ones that are of like a damaging sort, like somebody took an axe to the head or somebody was bludgeoned to death or something like that. It looks as though tools were used to very thoroughly go through each and every body that was placed in here to free them or rid them of any and all valuables that were on them, probably before they were placed in these ditches. But there is no identifying marks on any of them as having been killed by a weapon. For I don't know how long or how many of these you want to investigate, but you go through at least a half dozen, and none of them have any marks that would indicate they were killed by a weapon or burnt or anything, from magic or something. Maybe they all died of natural causes, but even you being Xander knows that these were individuals of all different ages, no children, but all different adult ages.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't particularly help.
Make an investigation check.
Sure, with pleasure.
I don't know if is B2
25.
engaging in any of this, or I guess it doesn't really matter.
I think now that you mentioned the battlefield, just very quick, I think B2 is a little concerned, and because he keeps having that flashback of being, not the battlefield, but the bodies, right? And B2 is worried about having that flashback to when he saw all the bodies in the battlefield, and even though they're not maybe connected for you to B2, like he's like, he's having that moment, like, could these in some way? So he's kind of just trying to ground himself.
Right. Probably a similar number of bodies as B2 had in the visions, but most of those were killed with some kind of instrument of war, swords, axes, maces, some magic and whatnot, but mostly regular weapons. So there would have been like very obvious signs of a person's head being caved in or something like that, right? Yeah, so as you're kind of observing all of this, you're kind of having that thought go through your mind. Xander, you find a chain that seems to have been passed over and missed by whoever it was that went through all these bodies on a 25
Just
investigation.
not the chainless.
It's a simple silver chain, and on the the pendant, small, simple pendant, there are just it's like a very, very worn ruby that looks like it's lost the coloration of it, like it's cloudy, which is weird. And like even from like rubbing it a bit to try and get that what you think is exterior cloudiness to go away, it just seems like a dull gem. Like the gem has lost some of its life, which gems don't really have life, but they're usually vibrant in color, at least when they're clean and polished and well cut and all of that. So you've seen that before, but this is weird. But engraved into the ruby on this kind of set piece, there are some words, and they are in common, and they simply say Tenlath Guardians. Like as though this is a keepsake, or not a keepsake, I'm sorry. More like you would see dog tags, which is a really strange description in this setting, but especially by using a ruby. But it's more like thin and not like this ostentatious piece of jewelry that was being worn. It's more like dog tags. That's the feeling you get from it. There's no like Tenlath Guardians Troop A-2174. It just says Tenlath Guardians. That's all it says.
Right. Okay.
Mm-hmm. You've seen the word Tenlath before. Xander has.
It sounds familiar. I'm looking through my notes.
Do you mind if you spell that out for me, please?
T-E... Actually, here.
Control F.
Do you see what I pulled up on Foundry?
I'm cooked. That's my only mention.
Do you see?
Oh, gotcha. Okay, yep.
The spelling of that word is on the left-hand side of the map.
Perfect. Thank you. I was hearing 10 laugh, and I was like, 10 laugh guardians. Oh.
Sorry.
No, you're good.
Oh, there it is. Oh.
I have hearing problems, so.
Oh,
wow.
whoa.
Wow.
Hold on. All right, hold on. I got some theories.
Yeah, because I was gonna say with the amount of bodies there are, it must be before the all the bad stuff happened. Because the amount of bodies here is the equivalent of a whole town right now.
Or more.
The
Yeah.
equivalent
Wow.
of a whole town.
Or the equivalent of an entire army.
How deteriorated are they? Again, just
How deteriorated are they?
Glass?
There's really nothing left on the bones at all. It's just the bones. And there's tattered pieces of clothing that weren't taken or whatever from them. Those are also extremely rotted and mostly missing. It's very bits and pieces of ragged cloth here and there. With your investigation check of 25 and your medicine check of 18, you probably would piece together that these bones are possibly 87 years old.
wow, that's a specific number.
Maybe
I'm great at
between
this.
80 and 100 years old.
I'm great at this, dude. 87 years old, man. Dude, I should have been an archaeologist. Okay, noted.
I have a hard time with approximations without giving exact information. Whenever I tell somebody like, yeah, I'm going to be there in approximately 27 minutes. It's just a problem I have. But anyways.
And you called your desk a bureau.
Yeah, I do. And my children call them bureaus as well, by the way. So
I say your desk, I said desk because that's the French word for desk, but yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think you're gonna be able to tell your kids your kids they speak French now.
Hey, you guys know a French word. Yep. Yeah. Anyways,
you're using it wrong, but you know a French word.
Is there any conversation about this that would be taking place at this point? I'm sure maybe I'm sure Blackstar would probably have something to say. Xander would probably bring it up to Razier or somebody else and be talking about it, but neither of them are here, so it's up to you guys to have similar dialogue.
Well, Garen rolled a 9. He's probably not getting it anywhere in terms of.
Yeah, but Xander, Jason, speak up.
I look. Okay. Yeah, I mean, these bodies are from a civilization before us. It's actually really interesting, honestly, how quickly we as society have learned to pick up after ourselves after Titan attacks. I mean, this ruby here says 10 Lath Guardians, and from the map that we picked up that I've studied for hours on end, we know that from the past there was once an area called 10 Lath that was here. And I mean, now that town is just a memory, but there's a whole city on the other side of the Isles. I don't know. I think that's cool. I think that's interesting. I think that there's a whole world that was 80, 100 years ago, and none of us really know anything about it except, well, I glare at Razier. But I mean, I don't know. I think it's interesting.
Yeah, interesting. I got the same thing, by the way, guys.
You also got a gem.
No. I mean, I came to the same conclusion.
Without a gem, that's really impressive.
Yeah. Listen. I think we shouldn't. This is Andrew's moment. I don't want to take that away from him. He figured it out before me. It's okay. What are you saying though? The past part that I didn't get there though. That you're saying that these bodies are somehow
They are old.
right.
Just like them.
They're very old. Like, I mean, very old.
How long does it take a skeleton to wither away or not be a skeleton anymore?
I mean, it depends on the circumstances. Depends on the environment. These bones are not exactly preserved, but they're in like mud and water, and that kind of keeps them a little bit safer than they were if they were, out in the middle of the desert on top ground, because then they would be getting hit by sun damage and deteriorating by erosion from wind and sand, and they just wouldn't be in as good condition for what it is as they are now.
What could cause this much death? It can't, there's clearly no damage, so it's not war.
Well, it's a Titan, probably. A bunch of...
Sorry.
You're good. A bunch of hopeless people leading themselves to their own death.
So they just laid down and died?
No. I think they fought, but I think they knew they wouldn't win. It's more of a piece of hope, an idea that you hold on to, hoping for one of the various heroes throughout history to come and be the guiding light and save you, and hoping that you're just going to get lucky this time. And I think that most people aren't fortunate enough to.
The Age of the Bones is more in line with the culling than the Titan attacks due to their age.
That's me just getting my history while I don't have it on hand.
It's all good. It doesn't come up that often. You'd think it would, seeing as it's the main basis in lore for the entire world, but it doesn't come up that often.
Give me 1 second to open it up. Just to have it on hand now that we're actually talking about it. There it is.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
The culling annihilation.
Oh, okay. Wow, this adds an interesting layer to it.
Did you forget entirely all about that?
I did. we mostly talk about Titans.
Yes, that's true.
When we talk about the past, it's mostly about Titans. Talking about anything that's even possibly 100 years old is something that we don't talk about.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, let's be honest. We talk about the Titans because Titans are cool.
Oh man, dude! I don't know if it's me or Xander that's smarter.
Definitely Xander. 100%. 100%.
Without a
when
it's funny. Let me ask you a question.
When you learn to rotate on Rocket League, then you can talk to me.
Wow. Felix, seeing as Alex and Eric aren't here, did you forget about the culling annihilation?
I remember there being two.
Two apocalypses.
Yeah, but I remember before reading, I remember vaguely like they discovered something or something like that, and everything went bad. But we always talk about the Titans. That's the one I was more focused on as well.
It's the one that is in the memories of like all living things throughout the world, because even though the first apocalypse happened, the Titans were more catastrophic from like a fear perspective. Like, this is right in front of our faces.
Yeah.
And some of the generations that are alive actually remember the Titans, right? Like, Razier should theoretically be old enough to remember one of the Titans.
Matthias as well.
Should be. In
For sure,
fact,
Matthias.
We don't know his real age.
Anybody who's older than, like, I don't know, 47 years old in game was 10 years old the last time one of the Titans attacked. So they should remember it.
Guys.
So do you remember them, Tim?
We do not know Razier's real age. He could be from the culling.
He's one of the Titans. Calling it now.
Shut up! Shut up!
That'd be crazy.
I'm thinking. This isn't your time.
So
It's not my time to say stupid stuff.
it's interesting that I have literally not included information about the culling or really incorporated it into the game at all in any way, and so you guys have literally forgotten that it was even something in the past. So
I feel like the calling specifically, we thought about it back when we found the ruins underneath Beacon, because we're like, oh, ancient city, stuff like that. But afterwards was like, oh, Titans.
Because the Chainless and their entire purpose is thwarting the Titans. So of course that would be the thing we're talking about.
Same with the followers of Zil, the ones who revive dead heroes.
Yep.
Like that. Yeah, followers of Zil. Yeah.
So this is probably actually the first thing in the campaign thus far that really has a reference to or has anything to do with what you would believe to be the culling. This is probably a civilization, and everybody 18 years or older was killed all in one fell swoop where they stood, and the bodies were all hauled to these ditches and not covered over and just left. Because it was a world full of children, 17 years and younger at that point, and they didn't know any better. They just dragged their parents and grandparents and everybody over and threw them in a ditch, and that was it.
Can you imagine being 17 years old, 364 days into the year? You're 1 day away from being 18. Imagine being a minute away from being 18, bro. And everybody 18 and over drops dead. And the second it happens, you turn 18. Just like, whoa.
What about
Dodged a bullet. Dodged a bullet.
Like people born on February 29th?
Yeah, I guess they got a free pass. I don't know. Yeah, I didn't really. Anyways, so we're still here in the moment.
Yeah,
we are.
I don't know about you, Felix, but I'm here in the moment. Okay. You've just finished investigating these bones that are in these trenches, and discovered that there are likely the remnants of the Tenlath Guardians, which you have not read about, or Xander has not read about in any history books, as there is not much history, if any, left of the times before the Titan attacks or before the Culling Annihilation. But you do have this old world map that Xander would definitely have pinpointed that one of the towns that just so happens on the map to be marked in pretty much the exact location or similar to where you're standing right now. There was an ancient city or town called Tenlath. So that kind of lines up pretty well. That's a discovery that was just made. There was a brief conversation about it, and is there further discussion to be had about it, or you want to continue moving on? Okay. So you know to follow these lines, quote unquote, which are these trenches in the swamp, to head towards seemingly a tower. Tower could mean anything, but that you're looking out for something that might be tall. So this does bring us to our next day of travel as we go to our world map, and likely the final. Now, I thought before I could have the journal notes permanently on the map, even when you're on like token controls on the left-hand side. There's like a journal notes tab that you can click on that then pulls up where locations that I've marked are on the map. But I thought I could have those always displayed, and for some reason that's like not working.
I mean, wait, I had them just before I went to journal.
It's not a problem that I'm going to try and fix right now, but anyways, if you click on the journal notes button on the left-hand side, it does bring up the
journal notes, toggle node displays, and then you'll have them, even when you're in token control.
Where is that?
In journal notes, there's like there's more icons on the side.
Yeah, but okay, yep, I just clicked it. There was no feedback that as though it had changed anything, but you're right.
Yeah, it doesn't. Yeah.
So I clicked that, and now they're permanently on there. Sweet.
Yeah.
Cool. So I'm going to move the token one further day. Now the lines are leading you in this direction, so that's where I'm going to move you, which is more of a southwestern direction. So who would like to roll the 2d10?
Obviously, Razir and Black Star.
Okay.
Go for it.
It's just a d10. It's not like you have to roll from them or anything.
Yeah.
Do it from theirs.
We got to be authentic.
Ooh.
Another 10?
Oh, man. Oh, I thought it was so close to another 10. That's crazy. 14.
Hey, my lucky number.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool because it's twice as much as 7, which is the best number ever. So that's okay. So the as you pass by all these trenches and you continue on your journey in this southwestern direction, there's not much difference to the topography and the terrain that are here. It's just more jungle. The rain begins to come down at a more steady rate as the day progresses, just creating this really sloppy, not fun trudging through the jungle of water puddles at different heights and muck, and there's not really anything of danger that you kind of get the sense of. There is a small section of not ruins, but something that's kind of like jutting out of the jungle, and you go over to investigate it. We're not going to RP that entire scenario, but it seems to be more remnants of past something that impacted the ground and left this metal piece just kind of sticking up and out of the jungle at an odd angle. It does not reach above the trees. There is no writing on it. It does look as though it was hewn or sliced through by something with precision. But this thing that's probably 20 feet wide and about 25 feet tall, it's like the section of the side of, one of the vessels that you probably had seen previously that maybe got sliced out of the sky somehow and impacted into the ground. But there's nothing else interesting about it, so we're going to move on from that. But you do see that. It does have similar construction to the area where the well was and where the word Solium 467 was written on the side. So it's kind of a similar age to that. For some reason, this metal has not worn down despite the wet and humid environment that the jungle shows. So you'd think that metals rust and wear down. And this is caked in mud and jungle muck, but is not rusting at all. So that's interesting. And you can't determine. Xander probably would try and figure out what the metal is, what it's made out of, but it's not onyx, and it's not like iron or any other metal that you're familiar with, at least in the world that you've experienced so far. Continuing on your way, eventually by we'll say 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon period. Actually, we're gonna rewind a little bit to like just after you left the trenches and anyways, you know what I'm talking about. In the ground, you come across several of these orbs on the ground that are probably watermelon sized. I'm using fruit for some reason to judge size, but anyways, it gives you a pretty fair. Watermelons can be all different sizes. They're pretty decent size. And when they seemingly impacted the ground, they kind of like embedded themselves almost half into the mud that's here. There's like one that you find that like had hit a tree and kind of rolled to a stop, but they all seem to be like in a line. You find one like 20 feet from a previous one, and then one 50 feet, and then one another 10 feet, and so on and so forth. And they seem to be in a line. Kind of, and B2, I think it was B2, who heard the sound and like the beeping sound the night before. On these like grayish black metallic orbs, there is like a little red and green light that kind of like flickers back and forth. It's like a little arcane crystal sticking out of the top of them. But nothing happens when you walk near them. You can poke them with a stick, you can throw a spell at them, you can hit them with something, and they don't seem to react for whatever reason, but they're all in a line, and it's like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of feet long. Almost as though this is some kind of marking system. You're not sure, but don't know why they would need to be so big. They look like they could be some kind of arcane bomb of some kind, or maybe they're something similar to what was used by the shadow creatures to open portals. The texture and the make of them looks like Shadowfell tech, but you can't figure out their purpose. It doesn't seem like there's a mechanism to open them. I'll stop the description there because I'm just carrying on for far too long. But yeah, that's what you find. I don't know if you'd pick one of these up and try and take them with you, but they're kind of heavy. They weigh like 100 pounds.
For Garrett, though?
For Garrett.
I definitely can't carry it.
I'll try to pick one up.
Okay. Yeah, it's an orb. You pick it up.
Should we keep this?
It's big, heavy.
It's like a very large rock.
I mean, we could carry it, but I feel like if we put it in the hole, like, to get stuff out of the hole, you need to, like, climb up. I don't know how. I feel like it'd be hard to get out of the hole afterwards.
Can I palm it?
Or
is it
trying to pick up 100-pound basketball with one hand? That's kind of questionable. You probably would have to make a roll each time you try to do that.
You can talk to animals, and that's the shit.
Oh man, guys.
That's pretty. I mean, Garen's got pretty big hands, but this is pretty challenging.
Xander scurries off to go pee.
All right.
Okay.
If you don't think it's a really good idea, or if it serves no purpose,
you could certainly try.
I am concerned on what it actually does, and I believe it is best to leave it behind.
Yeah. All right. Make a valid case, and I'll just put it back.
Okay. I'll have to ask Xander when he gets back from peeing if he actually took one with him or not, because he said he wanted to take one. So you put it back in place, and you continue on your way, and eventually you leave them behind as you're not heading in exactly the direction that they're laid on the ground. And it is around the 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon mark, as I mentioned, where you come to a clearing, another clearing in the jungle. And the jungle has kind of changed from being so wet over a couple of hours you've been traveling to having some more dry patches, more grassy patches. It's turned from a lot of moss and things that thrive in a humid environment to more patches of tall grasses and reeds and things that might grow in a less humid environment. And so this clearing is actually mostly grass, similar to a meadow that you would see. As you get to within 30 or 40 feet of the edge of this clearing, and of course you do have a view of it through the opening in the trees that are here, there's a large rocky outcropping that has like sand, or not sand, dirt and mud and whatever. That's kind of a hill that stretches up to the and kind of, it's a hill with rocks sticking out of it. Embedded into the side of this hill is a large stone tower. The tower looks like it is mostly in ruins. The top of it like has mostly collapsed and fallen over. There's like one side of it that's kind of like a peak, and where there once was a large, like probably double oak doors that leads into this watchtower. Although there's no other structures around there would be a tower here. Maybe this was just for keeping a lookout in this particular region. You're not entirely certain. It's probably one of the most intact things, except for the tower at the outpost where you rescued B2 and Garen from, right? So it's that similar architecture. Where the doors once were is just a large opening in the side of the tower, kind of like an archway where the stones are missing. But the thing that catches Louise's attention is you can hear voices from inside the tower. It's like people are having a conversation.
Guys, I think we might have found, I'm guessing, might be chainless. I think they're in the tower.
Oh, that one right there?
Yeah.
I mean, who else would be out here?
Yeah, that's why I said chainless, since they use it as a landmark to get to their base.
That's a good location.
As you're all having this conversation and kind of moving closer to the clearing to get a better perspective, and if you are trying to do so in a quiet way, I would like everyone to make a stealth check.
Since we're doing that quietly before anyone else, could I have casted Pass Without a Trace?
Absolutely. You probably would have immediately done so as soon as you heard the voices, I would assume.
Well, as soon as we decide to get closer to it, sneakily, so yeah.
Oh my god.
Wow.
Not a good thing for Pass Without Trace.
21.
Oh yeah, right. I forgot for 0 as well. So
yep.
Garen is like a sneaky dude right now.
What the heck? I freaked out on
God.
Stars again.
So it would have been the first one, which would have been a 35.
Oh, Razier.
Come on, Razier.
I got it. Well, I canceled it with my nat 20.
Yeah.
Oh, is that actual art for Black Star?
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, you weren't here when he. Yeah.
That's awesome.
He changed that a while ago.
Yeah, but he
I've
missed
been
a
gone
few
for like
games.
a month.
Yeah.
That's sick.
All right, so we got a 33 with a natural 20 from Garen. We have a 23 from Louise, a 16 from B2, 35. Wait, no. Black Star's first roll was a 15, so 25, 21, and then 15.
15 with a nat 1.
But the natural 20 does cancel out the natural 1, at least in my games, right? So the
All right.
average isn't terrible.
Thank God for Pass Without a Trace.
I will say that you're having this conversation and you're still maybe 25 feet from the clearing, so it's your choice if you want to get any closer. From the edge of the clearing to the base of the tower, it's probably 70 feet, so you're about 95 to 100 feet approximately from the tower itself, which isn't that far. The conversation and the words that you're hearing are muffled. You can't really make out what they're saying, but they're not making a huge effort to be quiet. They're not shouting, whoever it is that's talking to each other, but they're not being super quiet either. One individual does walk out of the entrance of the tower kind of nonchalantly. Seems to have like a pipe. It's a short, bald dwarf with a long kind of gray braided beard that comes down kind of in the center, and has a pipe in one hand and seems to be trying to like light it. And it's still raining outside, so we're not entirely certain why he walked outside to try and light his pipe, but who knows? He's trying to like light it, and then kind of like turns and like looks in the direction of your group and kind of like squints his eyes a little bit, and then kind of like goes back to trying to light the pipe and is visibly frustrated at that happening, and then kind of like looks up and says a curse word up into the sky, and then decides to turn around and walk back into the but the attire that this individual is wearing is that of the outcast and not that of the chainless. Turns back and walks back inside, and there's a couple of shouted words, which you do pick up from some male individual who's on the inside that just shouts out, "How did you forget it?" And that's that. It just goes back to like the normal volume of conversation, and then you can't hear what the rest of it is. There is something else that happens, but it's not super important. So are you guys doing anything in this moment or just observing?
One thing, you said he swore, but you never actually swore.
I don't say swear words, so.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I'm kind of following Louise's lead right now, so yeah.
I was just gonna ask, should we just avoid him, go around, and then go straight south from the tower, I think it was? Or do we...
They're not in league with the chainless. They were...
Yeah, but we kind of, killed a bunch of them when we...
No, I think it's a good idea to avoid them. That was my reasoning to agree that I don't think this isn't something we should
if they were chainless, yeah, it's for now. All
right. The one thing, again, I'm calling attention to Louise because your passive perception is just stupid. So, on the ground...
That's what it says on the character sheet. Stupid.
Stupid. On the ground, in between you guys and the tower, amidst the grass, there is a piece of parchment that seems like it had been folded up, and there's a little bit of wind that kind of comes through, and the rain is kind of raining down on it, and it kind of like flaps open on the ground, and there's some writing that's on it, but of course it's too far away for you to see what it says. But a different individual comes walking out of the tower and like looking around the clearing and like holding, it's a female half elf, like jet black hair that comes down back in a ponytail, wearing normal leather armor, a bow strung over her shoulder with a quiver and some arrows, and just basic travel equipment and gear on her. And just kind of holds her hand up and kind of looks left and right, and then starts doing like a basic sweep of the clearing that's here, like she's looking for something.
Oh, wow, I forgot. Does Enos have to roll a stealth check?
I mean,
yes,
he's a tree. He gets advantage, right?
Yeah,
and
it's pretty...
He'd also get a +10 from the Best Without Trace.
Makes sense. Where is Enosis's stat block?
I wonder, since Pass Without Trace says that people affected by a spell don't leave tracks, does that mean if I were to cast Pass Without Trace on Enosis when he, like, digs his root into the dirt and then, like, still spell an effect when he gets up, does that mean the hole just wouldn't exist?
Or it makes it blend in to where you wouldn't notice that it was that left behind. Enosis rolled a natural 20 on his stealth check, so
he's gone. He doesn't exist anymore.
So he rolled a 30. With Pass Without a Trace, and he thus far has said nothing, and has just been your traveling companion who's.
As far as we know, we have no idea which tree he is.
You turn around and Enosis is just gone. He's just gone.
Enosis, what do you think?
Keep talking to one tree where he's like, "Hey guys, over here."
Yeah.
We have to smell one of them.
Good thing you can smell me too.
I haven't.
So, are we in agreement that we should just make our way around these guys?
Yeah. Uh, Xander, Java right now, Java's a bird, right? Could you send them over to maybe try and get that piece of paper to see what might be written on it?
Certainly try. I'll send him over.
Yeah, just wait until she's like all the way around the tower. So,
Based on, well, so the back side of the tower is this large hill that goes up at a fairly steep angle, and the tower is like partially embedded into the side of this. So the sweeping would be of the meadow that's kind of
no, all right.
below it, you would say.
Yeah.
And the direction where she started, she kind of went left out of the door and started her walk. There wouldn't be, unless she had her back turned, she's going to get to the note. You know, she's not going to not see the bird come down and pick it up unless she has her back turned, which is unlikely in this scenario, but we can do some rolls and see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, it's just a bird.
Yeah.
Nobody's seen
What,
us.
isn't Java like an Arctic owl?
Yeah, but
An Arctic owl in the
but
jungle.
as
Yeah.
far as I'm concerned, it's still just a bird. Like, nobody has seen us, right? So, like, you know, it's weird, but it's like picking up nesting material, you know?
So have Java make a deception check.
Yeah, this will be, if you want to go ahead and do it, so it'll be a stealth check versus her perception check.
This would be so accurate if they failed the perception check. It would just make outcasts just terrible at their jobs.
Give me 1 second. That's the stat block I'm using. Okay. Dexterity's a +3. Roll well, little bird.
We believe in you.
Dirty
It's gonna
20?
have to be.
Oh,
So it's interesting. Not only, so she's not really paying attention to Java as Java comes down to pick up the paper, because she notices the paper at the same time and starts just heading in that direction, like, oh, I found what I was looking for, and starts walking towards it. And so I'm going to have, well, no, because you're closer, Java's way faster than she's going to be traveling. So just as she's about to get to it, there's just like of air as Java just comes by and snatches the paper, and she's like, what? And then he's just gone up into the air. And then she kind of like cocks her head to the side and kind of like looks around the clearing as she slowly like takes the bow off of her back and takes an arrow, like she's looking around. And then what's Java's armor class?
It is a 13. I would like to play with something.
Okay.
Hold on. Give me 1 second. How far away are we?
From where she is, probably 15, 20, 45 feet.
Okay. And I can summon my familiar within 100 feet of me at any time?
Like poofing back to you?
Yeah. And like,
Sure.
where can I bring him back?
To yourself? Within...
Like, no. When I snap him back to life, right? I can summon him to a point where I can see...
Within what range? Read the stat block or the
feet,
text.
10 feet. Brutal news. All right, nope. Then I'll try and bite the bullet. I was really gonna try and like despawn him and then spawn him back in, and despawn him and spawn him back in.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what you could have done, don't you have Phantasmal Force?
Okay.
Yeah.
Make her see a bunch of birds flying around.
Yeah, but I've already used the action to summon and command him.
Yeah, but...
So it's a 27 to hit.
Yeah.
Um,
That's a miss.
do I need
silvery
to bother?
barbs.
Silvery bar.
Even with silvery barbs, it's gonna hit.
I mean, yeah, it's
It's a
probably gonna-
13.
It's worth trying again, man.
At the very least, it's a plus 18. Because
What?
you never
What?
you said you said 20. No, oh god, I'm
20
bad at math.
27.
Yeah, sorry,
Yeah.
I'm bad at math. I had 27 in my head. I was like, oh, 20.
That was a 29 to
10,
hit.
20,
This new
yeah.
roll.
Hey, there's always a chance. It's
I
always
mean,
worth the risk.
you take the lowest roll, so it's still 27 with silvery barbs.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you're
Yep.
thinking maybe of Chrono
Oh.
Shift.
Who are you giving advantage to?
Java.
Java, maybe he'll dodge. I don't know.
Is the range 60 feet
Java's
on that,
cooked.
or?
Yeah,
Java's,
Yeah,
Java's
60.
cooked.
Okay,
Java's god.
Java's far further away than 60 feet, but I'm just probably not going to make that much of a difference. But yeah, Java in this instance out of existence. And yep. So then a couple seconds later, the paper just kind of floats back down to the ground.
This thing
And
is soaking wet. Is it raining?
Oh, that's true. You're right, actually. That's hey, see that's good. You're in the moment and seeing things more clearly than I am, despite the fact that it's raining. So yeah, it's wet and it just plummets to the ground, hits the grass, and she begins to go over to go pick it up. And she's still
The ink has
still
gone
like
all over
super
the place.
like
Can't
You're-
even-
looking around the clearing, like really keeping an eye out in the forest to see if she sees anything, because she's like super not understanding what's going on, but doesn't see you guys. Goes over, picks up the paper.
I was thinking I could try and throw
I
a rock
can't
at
do
the
anything.
paper.
I can't do anything. So
I mean, at this point, we should just see what the letter says.
She takes it
So-
and picks it up
Yeah.
and tries to like dry it off, kind of rubs it against some of her clothes or whatever, and folds it back up, and frustrated sticks it in a pocket and heads back to the tower.
You just smudged the ink, guys. We're in the clear.
All right, so do we just go around like we said we would?
I
The
guess
start?
so.
yeah,
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
it's a good try, Sander.
Well,
Go ahead. You're gonna say something.
nope, that's it.
Well,
Well,
I hope you have enough components to bring him back.
I do. I
Yeah,
made
right.
sure to buy extra. The last time we were there, I bought I think I bought enough to summon him once, and then like 3 or 4 more times worth.
so you're approaching the tower from the north, and so going west, which is to your right around it, that's where the hill is, right? If you were to try and go up and like climb up and around the tower, it would be difficult. Obviously, that's why it's called difficult terrain, but it's kind of open and there's not really as many trees on the hill. It's more of just like I keep saying sand for some reason, dirt and mud and rocks and stuff like that are up there. It would be much easier to go around the clearing to your left, which is east, around the clearing, which is opposite of where the opening of the tower is facing east. Does that make sense? So
Yeah.
you could, I probably didn't paint the greatest picture of this scenario, but anyways, that seems like the path of least resistance, which would give you, hiding terrain and all that. So
yeah.
she goes back inside the tower. You continue making your way on the left-hand side of this clearing, heading further south. It only takes like a minute or two to get to a point where you're across the clearing from the tower, and you can see directly into this large opening. And you can see that there are 4 individuals that are standing on the inside of this, and at one time, maybe there were walls on the inside. It looks like a broken staircase that was kind of winding around on the inside that leads up to a second floor. But that's not open. It's just this bottom section that is. And what you find interesting is that these 4 individuals are crowded around what looks to be a large 2-sided stone door, which is on the inside that is up against where this hill would be, as though there's more to this embedded into the hill. Like there's something here, right, that they're trying to get into. It looks like they're messing with something that you can't make out what it is on the right-hand side of the door, and there's conversation. You see them, like one of them is like pacing back and forth. There's another half-elf female. There's the dwarf who is trying to smoke outside, and then there's some kind of leadership type figure who's like leaning over the one who'd picked up the paper on the outside. And this is a human with like dirty blonde hair and has like almost like a pirate captain's hat on, kind of tilted to the side, and has kind of like a floofy white shirt. I can't think of the word I'm looking for. It's wearing like there you go, like a pirate outfit on that has the coloration of the Outcast, which is more of like blacks. So it just kind of looks edgy and kind of silly looking, but definitely is putting on the airs of being someone of importance, and is kind of like leaning over the person who had the paper, and is just kind of like not shouting at them, but like speaking in a hurried tone and like, you know, kind of like, why did you do this kind of thing, whatever. They're having a little bit of an argument, and the dwarf finally gets the pipe lit after 5 or 7 minutes of trying to get it lit, and just kind of like has a nice look on their face, like they're happy with themselves. And this is all just as you're walking by and looking at what's going on the inside, and you get this visual for at least a minute as you're walking. The one with the dwarf with the pipe walks over and like grabs the paper out of the half-elf's hands, looks at it, and like turns his head a little bit, and then flips the paper upside down and hands it back to the half-elf. And she like takes her hand, and you just see her do one of these, and then walks over and does a couple something on, messes with something stone to the right side of the stone doors, and there's a very audible and visible shudder to the hill. And then you hear a rumbling sound as the doors open. And at this point, you've walked, unless you wanted to stay and watch, you've walked out of the view of what's on the inside of this because you decided you were going to keep walking.
I feel bad for killing the outcast after watching all of that. I clearly fought a weaker foe.
They started it.
I mean, remember, you are only a month old.
That is true.
You didn't know good from wrong back then.
But it does seem like they're discovering something interesting.
Yeah, I've never seen someone just open a rock.
The things D&D makes us say.
I love it. Dude.
I was thinking, do you guys think that might be like a secret way into the chainless base, maybe?
If they did mention that they have been ransacking the chainless.
Yeah.
Oh, that makes sense. I was just about to bring up that they are technically out, like they were rejects of the chainless. So I thought, like, oh no, that's why would Louise say that? That makes no sense. But yeah, now that would be two supporting you. That makes a lot of sense.
Totally remember them stealing from the chainless. Yeah.
Do we reevaluate? Is that? Do we seize open the door, the rock? Yeah.
Do we want this newly opened rock?
The geode.
I think it's worth investigating.
Okay.
I don't know why our two most charismatic members don't seem all there, so should we wait until the...
Surely we could handle ourselves.
You guys can function as a group without the people that do a lot of talking in this group. It's
I
fine.
talk a lot. I just can't succeed a lot of charisma checks.
Me
So
too.
should I be the one who does the talking?
Who has the highest charisma?
Not
Le-
me.
Well,
left.
definitely Black Star.
I think
Black
it's
Well,
Star
I
for
meant
sure.
out of the
The
four,
four
of
of
us.
us. It's
Not
not
me.
me.
I have a +1.
Yeah, I have a -1.
I have a +0.
Oh, I have a +2.
No, I have a
You have-
+1.
You have a +2.
I have a +2. Wow, I'm surprised.
Your Xander's charisma is +2.
Mine is +1. I have 12.
12 is +1. Wait, is she looking
You
at
guys
the
have
wrong?
different sheets.
Then
your-
you have a +2.
Your charisma is +2. So you must be getting it from some other source. Your saving throw is a +2. Sorry.
Oh,
your
you're doing a saving throw,
My
yeah.
bad. My bad.
Yeah, no, because he has 12 charisma. Yeah, that's the same throw. Yeah. Yes. What
So
is it?
Garen-
The Ring of Protection.
So
Garen is the
Garen-
most charismatic
Oh,
out of the not charismatic people.
the most charismatic of the not charismatic people.
Yeah, you'd think that. I mean, Garen's got a 15 in charisma. That's way above average.
That's almost twice mine.
Yeah, like, Garen's like well, it's because of his family that I attribute that charisma, but he's actually not great at talking. He's just a lovable, likable person.
There you go.
Yeah, well, I've got 8 charisma.
Okay. So are we choosing to talk to these guys? We're not fighting. We're just are we? Why are we talking to them? Can we manage to like do what that flying circular device? I don't know what that is. That flying circular thing was doing to us. Like just
He has the highest charisma. We're doomed.
I want to see Garen talk you guys' way out of a conflict. That's what I want to see.
Into a conflict.
Someday.
Let's be honest.
that'll happen.
It's gonna be into a conflict.
Yeah.
He's the barbarian. Always gonna be talk his way into a conflict.
Well, depends on how he role plays it, but yeah.
Yeah.
I don't see me talking our way into this. But I also don't want to fight them because like B2 said, it just doesn't feel super fair.
After you slaughtered 5 of them, it didn't seem unfair. to them.
They attacked us first.
Did they? I think they saw us, and then we immediately grabbed one of them, started attacking him, and then the rest of his friends started attacking us because of that.
Well, from what I remember, we we were holding one to get information, but we didn't actually attack him. He then called his boys to shoot some arrows at us, and then that's when they ticked me off.
This is perfect. I love it.
I always love these
this-
type of situation in D&D. Like, technically, we didn't attack.
This is a D&D conversation if I've ever seen
Yeah.
one, for sure.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, I love it.
What do you guys want to do? Speak up.
It seems important not to pass by, and perhaps, well, we may not be charismatic. We could be terrifying and just scare them into letting us in.
Yeah, I
We
don't know
have
about
a tree.
yeah, apart from Garen and 3, which is where?
you just see
yeah,
one
we're
of the
not all that
trees.
scary.
One of the trees, like a limb, just starts moving. He's just like slowly
That must be the
waving.
wind.
That must be the wind. That's what I said.
Must have been the wind.
You hear just a voice out of the trees somewhere. If you are intending on moving on this tower, I do not think I can fit inside.
Yeah, no, sure.
No, that's
Come to
completely
think of
fair.
it, once we get to the chainless base, I don't know that I'm going to be very much help once you decide to go inside, as it's built for people that are much smaller than I am. But I'll be a good lookout.
I mean, they try to steal different creatures from different planes, so to be able to get them in, they most likely need. Anyway, we'll get there when we get there.
Okay.
I could make an entrance for you. I don't know how solid that building is, but if we just make a big enough.
Yeah, if we go by the chinless base we've been in before, it was like dug into the mountain. So we start just bring walls down. The whole thing might come down on us.
Never mind, I can't make an entrance for you.
But then again, that's one chainless base, so we're not really experts in the field.
Yes.
So,
Well, oh, go ahead, Gary.
so now with that new information that Enosis might not be able to enter this entrance anyways, do we want to continue this idea of seizing, convincing, intimidating them into giving us what we want?
Well, by all means, if this is something that interests you, I mean, we've taken enough detours and spent enough time talking about our personal feelings that what's another couple of hours on a small vacation out of this one day?
I mean, you're a tree, aren't you like 200 years old?
Do you have an active knowledge of treants and what our lifespans are?
I mean, you look pretty old. It's not. I don't want to open you up to count the rings, but yeah.
Just stares at you, just nodding.
Wait, who am I even talking to? You rolled a nat 20! You got a 30!
Even with your perception, you can't see him.
I have 25 passive perception.
Yeah.
Yep.
Dang.
So you're like looking around
So
and you're just talking to one of the trees, but it might not
I
be a
need to
Gnosis.
roll a nat 20 to be able to notice which one he is.
Jeez.
Um,
Xander,
well,
any thoughts?
I was just about to say, it's similar to what's his name, Zenosis.
Enosis.
Enosis.
It's an E. Enosis.
Enosis. Okay. I guess curious as I am, we do have a lot on our plate. We do not have to take another detour.
That's a fair point.
Yeah. I mean, what we're saying is this might not be a detour.
We have no way of knowing. Can't Java do something? And like maybe recon?
Yeah,
I'd have to spend another hour.
Yeah, it's an hour to summon that.
Oh. He. I know. I noticed he didn't come back, but I just thought you might have poofed him or something.
No, it's an hour to get him back, and then it's like another hour to get the arrow out of him.
Yeah.
Well, then, if we do not have a good approach, it is probably best to move on.
Yeah, go back to the original plan, just ignore it.
Yes. Do not want to risk resources, time, or spells on something that might be a dead end, when the chainless is the more important matter.
Louise, make a perception check for me.
Oh.
Still don't see
so close.
So yeah,
Still don't see
you still
him.
don't see him. Wow, 28. Yeah, that's pretty ridiculous.
Well, did roll an 18.
There is now that you guys are standing here having this conversation and you're deciding whether or not to do something, it sounds like you're probably going to move on, and that's fine, but you just kind of do a once over of the tower and everything associated with it, the hill behind it, and it looks like there is some writing above the door that goes where the outcast have. When the door opened, they like stood there having a conversation and kind of looking inside for a moment and lit up torches. And while you were having this conversation, walked in. The light from their torches just briefly lit up the words above the entryway that they went into, just long enough for you to make out the words, or the word, Solium 468.
Well, now we gotta go check.
If Louise tells us,
Yeah.
he didn't tell us yet that this happened. That he saw this.
That's true. He could choose to ignore it.
And I mean, hey, she said your wife might have been taken by the Shadowfell people, right?
Yes, I believe that she was, or
Yeah,
something else.
yeah, over there was written Solosis,
Solium.
Solium. I had Solosis Solarium.
Sounds a name
yeah.
like a bar.
I mean, Solosis is a Pokemon.
Yeah,
Pokemon.
we have a Pokemon themed
Actually,
bar here in Kalamazoo.
I mean, Solium 468 does kind of sound like a bar, if I'm being honest. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, there's some 468 written over there, so might be connected to the other stuff we found, or to those flying rocks with lasers that came after us. So it might be good to go see what's up with that.
Okay. Do we
Plus,
just
I
go?
mean, some of them, I don't know if all of them, but some of them went into the
All of them went in.
all of them went into the passageway. So right now, as far as I know, the tower should be empty. We could look around.
Well, we could at least peek at the entrance and see what we gather.
Yeah, it's not a very big tower. It's like maybe 25 feet across.
Okay, so we're going. I have no guarantee that a fight won't happen, because if they piss me off, they piss me off. But you've been warned. That's all I gotta say.
I mean, yeah, I kind of figured with how it went with the last time we met some outcasts.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So are we sneaking up, or are we just walking up?
I mean, you might as well sneak up. We still have Pass Without Trace.
Yeah, we still have it up. Why not?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Garrett's a big dude. I can't even imagine how he's sneaking. But he rolled that 20 before, so
Yeah. Which, it's not that long after those rolls occurred. So, you know, for this instance, I would carry them through. And there's not a whole lot of debris in this like meadow, open clearing, grassy area that would really be causing a lot of noise, except for the fact that because it is raining, there are little puddles of water here and there. It's not like this is a hilly landscape or anything. There's just a couple little puddles. You just kind of avoid them. But even in the non-puddly areas, your feet still make a squelching sound as they hit the soft earth. But it was a fairly decent stealth check, minus Razir's natural 1. So you continue forward, and you do approach the tower. And that's what I'm assuming you were doing. Getting to this large opening and seeing inside with the low light that's here, there's really nothing in here. There's a stone floor. Looks like at one point there was furniture. There's a totally shattered table up against the side. Not a bureau, a table. There's just like in pieces. It's totally rotted, and there's like mold growing on it, and there's like a small little plant that's kind of like a bush kind of starting to grow out of portions of the wall, and some vines kind of hanging down. This has been abandoned for quite some time. It's not been made a base or used for anything. It's probably something that's been explored and forgotten about. It does actually look as though there were vines that were growing or coming down the side of the tower and like partially obfuscating the opening that's here, and the outcast members cut away the vines. It kind of looks like that a bit, just to kind of reveal the opening a little bit more. But like very, very cautiously stepping inside, you can still hear the footsteps of them, of the outcast members, on the inside of the door. So you've gotten to a point now where you kind of have to stop, because if you go too much further, you're going to be like too close to them. They'll probably hear your footsteps even with your rolls and everything, right? So you're kind of waiting and listening. You notice that what you once thought was stone is the same type of mud and muck plastered metal that you experienced previously at the other location. And past the doors that are here, if you kind of like go to the left and kind of look in on the right, it looks like the 4 outcast members are gathered around what looks to be another version of the well system that you saw at the previous location. You don't see any canisters around, but it looks like a room made of the same kind of metal. It's a fully intact like building on the inside here. It does look like the floor and the door, now that you're at a closer perspective, is at a slight angle, like it's not perfectly level, which is a little off-putting, and you're not entirely certain why it's the case. Maybe there was a sinkhole, or maybe this wasn't intended to be here in the first place. I do think that this is probably a good point to call the session.